Hi, this is Jason with Violator Comics Collectibles coming at you with another video game review. And this time we're taking a look at Doom. And this is produced by ID Software and published by Bethesda Softworks. And this was released on May 13th, Friday the 13th of 2016. So Doom is essentially what they wanted to call a reboot of the franchise. It's more of an origin story. Originally it was set to be Doom 4, but they just took the 4 part out of the name and put it just as Doom. And this is available on PS4, PC, and Xbox One. And it's a first-person shooter, and it's supposed to take the franchise back to its roots. So this game really has 3 major components to it. It has the single player, the multiplayer, and the snap map. And in all honesty, each of these are 3 huge components that could probably almost be reviewed individually. But we'll start with the single player first. So the story is pretty basic for the Doom franchise. Essentially, the UAC has been doing experiments and basically opened up a portal to hell, and demons have come through, because of different experiments they've been doing. And you awake as a unnamed Doom guy trying to stop the forces of hell.
I'm willing to take full responsibility for the horrible events of the last 24 hours, but you must understand. Our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
So pretty standard story. And the one thing that's probably the best about this game is the story takes a backseat to the action. A lot of people might not like that because, being used to Call of Duty games where the story it's really story driven. This has very little story, and it focuses just on, bloodthirsty action and shooting, it's very refreshing because, there is story in this game, but it's very, very slight. I mean, you really don't need to know the motivation of the character. He's just trying to kick ass and basically stop the demons. So starting off with graphics, the graphics are absolutely beautiful in this game. I mean, this game runs at 60 frames per second. It's very smooth. It's very fast. Now, there has been some frame dip on the PS4 and the Xbox 360 versions. I have noticed it just once on the PS4, but overall, it does run super smooth, and it is probably one of the most pretty games you will see on the PlayStation 4. This game has amazing atmosphere, the lighting effects. I mean, depending on where you are in the game, I mean, there's a foundry where there's just molten steel flowing, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. They did a great job with the overall ambiance and atmosphere in this game. I mean, it's very eerie, exactly what you'd expect in a Doom game, and I mean, down to like blood on the walls. I mean, they did a great job making this game look the way you wanted it to. Sound is also really excellent in this game. They did a great job with that. Every location you're at, I mean, it really has that feeling with the sound that you'd expect it to. If you're either in a abandoned part of the installation or a foundry, or you're creaking through hallways, I mean, the sound is absolutely top notch. The only part where the sound probably falters is the gun sounds don't sound as good as you really want them to. I mean, when you fire off a shotgun, you really think you're going to get that boom, and all the guns are kind of weak when it comes to the sounds of the firing effects. But overall, the sound helps with the graphics, making a great overall ambiance to the game. The gameplay is also fantastic in this game. Very fast-paced, very smooth. The game is basically more of a game where you're going to push forward. You're not going to sit back. This is not a Call of Duty game where you're going to hide behind cover and let the enemies come to you. The enemies will swarm you. You have to push forward. You have to kill them, get the ammo, do glory kills to get extra health, especially on some of the harder difficulties to push forward. I mean, they really did a great job with making this game a fast-paced game, very much like the original games in the series. One thing I was worried about with the gameplay would be the level design. I thought with, being in a Mars facility and hallways and stuff, the scenery would get boring, and that's not the case at all. They definitely did a good job varying it up. I mean, you're going through different parts of the installation. They're very different. Foundries, going through computer sections, you go to hell. I mean, they did a really good job. And like I said, with the graphics and the sound, it really makes you feel like you're there. And the levels are also very vertical. There's lots of sections in the game where, you're not just moving around, left and right. You're going up, down, jumping down huge distances. And it's something I didn't expect. And it really helps because a lot of this game is going to be about exploring. There are tons of stuff for you to get in the game. Through exploration, you'll find different secrets and different weapon power-ups, and also different weapons that you can actually get earlier in the game if you were to explore more, which is really nice. Through the gameplay, you also will earn points, and through secret locations, you'll earn extra little points to actually upgrade your weapons, your armor, and then later in the game, you'll find runes, which are actually different abilities you can actually enable, and you can also upgrade those as well. And they have rune trials where you'll find the rune, and you'll actually play through a little game type to try and earn that rune, and then you can actually enable that on your character. They also have different Argent energy cells, which you'll find throughout the game, that'll actually help you upgrade your character in 3 different areas: health, armor, or ammunition. They also have little Doom Guy characters that are almost like a pop vinyl toy that you'd find at a toy store, and you find those throughout the game, and they'll actually open up little sections in the main menu where you can actually look at different character models. This game also has multiple different difficulties, and obviously the lower difficulties almost make the game too easy. I played on the lowest difficulty setting once, and I went through the game without dying at all by an enemy character. The only time I actually died was some of the platforming sections in the game. I'd actually fall off a cliff, or there was a lot of smoke effects, and you didn't know there was a cliff coming. But once you get to the more harder difficulties, this game is extremely challenging. And on average, looking for all the different secrets you can find in the game, you're looking at about 10 to 13 hours of gameplay, which is really nice for a single player campaign. And like I said, the secrets are, all over in these maps. They also give you an auto map to help find these secrets, and it gives you a little listing of the different things you need to do. There's different challenges to earn extra points to upgrade your weapons on the auto map, so you can kind of keep track of what you're doing and what you're not doing. And then probably my favorite secret in the whole game is every level has a lever that you're actually looking for. And when you find the lever and pull the lever, it actually opens up a doorway somewhere in the level that basically when you go through it, it's the original graphics for a Doom level, and it will actually open up a Doom level on the main menu select, where you can play through some of the classic maps using the old graphics for the level, but it'll have new characters and your character model will be new. So it's a really, really nice Easter egg. And like I said, there's tons of levels from Doom and Doom 2, lots of favorite levels. And probably my favorite thing in the whole game. I was really happy, and it really made me want to search out and find these locations. And they are really, really obscurely placed throughout the level. So, I mean, there's lots of exploration to be done. You also get a ton of weapons in this game to use. You start off with a pistol, which is probably the most underpowered pistol in video game history. And then you get a shotgun, super shotgun, the Gauss gun, the plasma rifle, the chain gun, the BFG, the chainsaw. I mean, there is a boatload of weapons for you to use, and they each, like I said, have upgradable points that you can upgrade just to wreak havoc on different characters throughout the game. Like I said, throughout the 10 to 13 hour campaign, you also encounter some really, really epic boss battles, which I really enjoyed. I wasn't really expecting them done the way they did them, but it was a really nice treat. And like I said, on some of the easier difficulties, it's almost a joke, but on some of the harder difficulties, it's very much about patterns and how the enemy attacks, and it makes it very difficult to beat these guys and find out the patterns on the harder difficulties. The next big section of the game is multiplayer, and this is one of the points of interest where a lot of people didn't like the way the multiplayer is going, especially after the beta. I'm not one of those people. I actually enjoyed it extensively in the beta, but pretty standard multiplayer. This is where a lot of people do not like the game. They think that the multiplayer is just too much like Halo, and I strongly disagree with that. I mean, I understand the points that they are arguing, but I do think it's fresh enough where you will like it. If you get to play it, several hours. Don't just play it one match and make your opinion based off that. You definitely have to kind of delve into the different modes and find something you like. But there is quite a bit of substance in this. One of the articles stated they really liked the old style play where you started off with a basic weapon and you had to find other weapons throughout the map, and that would kind of make those parts of the map like a choke point or a part of interest where everybody would fight around and try and hold. And this game still has that, but it's just done a little bit differently. Now, you get loadouts, and obviously, you can get a rocket launcher, shotguns, they have vortex rifles, tons of different weapons to choose with. And I really like the way they did this. And they kind of replaced that super weapon on the map, like the rocket launcher of old, with different things called demon runes and power weapons. And a demon rune is essentially a rune that gets dropped in the map at a certain time, and if you pick it up, you can become a demon and just wreak all hell on the opposing team. And you can kill the demon and then steal the demon rune back from them.
Oh shit.
And then they also have power weapons, like on some of the maps it's the chainsaw or the BFG or the Gauss gun. And these are, what I feel is what they did to change the game up. Most of the time in the multiplayer, as soon as the demon rune is announced, people go nuts towards that location. And then when the power weapons come, it's a big struggle, because if you get a BFG in the multiplayer, you definitely have a huge advantage.
Double kill, nice.
There's also several different modes in the multiplayer. The standard team deathmatch. There's a soul harvest, which is essentially like kill confirmed in Call of Duty, where you kill somebody and you're trying to pick up the soul and trying to get people from not picking up the souls from their kills. They also have a freeze tag, which is one of the modes I actually thought I'd really enjoy and I didn't like at all. They also have a King of the Hill, where there's different locations you hold down, an A, B, and a C point. And there's also like a King of the Hill that actually moves throughout the map, which I thought was really unique. It's a moving location you're trying to hold down at all times. But they probably could have done a little bit more with the modes. They are a little bit generic, but there is enough here that it does do its job. There's also different modes where you can select certain sections of the game where you can do like a team deathmatch, soul harvest, warpath. It'll rotate between those, so it'll change you'll stay in the same lobby, but it'll rotate you through the different game modes, which I did enjoy. I thought that was nice. So instead of having to jump out and find a new lobby, you'd be able to just stay with that group. And that's one of the multiplayer's biggest faults. The matchmaking is extremely excruciating. It takes forever to find a map. I don't know if it's something wrong with the server, or I really hope they're going to fix this, because this is probably the biggest downfall with the multiplayer. When the game came out, I was waiting 5-10 minutes just for a game to start up, and it's absolutely ridiculous. As well as the intermission in between the games, it's very, very long. In matchmaking, map rotation is also an issue. There's 9 maps that come bundled with this game, and there will be a DLC that has 3 different DLCs that have 3 maps each, so you're looking at an additional 9 maps, so 18 total once all the stuff has come out. But 9 maps to start, and it rotates the same maps a ton. I mean, there's 9 maps, and there's a couple maps that you don't play very often because the rotation is just so poorly done on this. There's also customization, so you can customize your character pretty extensively. As you play, you earn upgrades. There's different armors, helmets, different colors that you can put on your character, different patterns, and it gives you a pretty good option of customizing your character, as well as you can customize your weapons. The only weird thing is there's really no rhyme or reason of how you get these. I played with tons of people, and I played a very long time in the multiplayer, and I've earned certain things, way into my playing, and that people have earned, 1 hour into their play. It's all random how you get the upgrades. So it doesn't really reward the players for leveling up that much, other than just getting an echelon level, which is essentially a prestige like Call of Duty. And the last big section of the game would be Snap Map, and this is basically a level design or level editor that you can actually design your own levels and play levels that other players have created online, which is a really cool feature because it's not just linked to, if you have a PS4, you can only play what PS4 players have done. If anybody has made it, either the PC, the Xbox One, or the PlayStation 4, it is on this service that you can download and play, which is really nice. There's really no limit to what you can design in Snap Map, other than only being allowed to put so much stuff in a map, like only 64 demons and certain amounts of rooms. But you can make almost any type of gameplay you really want, down to a single player or co-op level. You can do horde modes or multiplayer maps. They are limited to 4 players, but it's a really nice option. And if this game is going to live on, this Snap Map is where it's going to be, because basically you have free content as long as somebody creates it, based on the quality that somebody makes it. And there is a system of voting thumbs up or thumbs down. That way you can see what maps are good and what maps are bad. But it's a really great feature, and it's one that I played several hours in, and I'm really hoping to dive into and making some really cool single player maps and maybe even my own campaign, because you can do almost anything in this. You can change the AI and tell them what to do, when to spawn in, how much health they have, weapon placement. I mean, it's really, really intricate.
Lockdown initiated.
So to rate this game at whole, like I said, there are 3 huge sections to this game. The single player is by far the best part of the game. Most players will play it just for the single player alone, and it is something you can't miss. It's graphically amazing. The gameplay is fast, fun, furious, and ultra violent. This is definitely not a game for kids, so just keep that in mind when you're purchasing this. This is not something you want to buy your little 6-year-old to play. This is not a Call of Duty game. I mean, Call of Duty is violent. This is ultra violent. The multiplayer is very, very strong. I just wish it had a little bit better map rotation and matchmaking was a little bit faster. It just seems to take way too long. And, hopefully the DLC and different things will fix that in the future, but you really shouldn't have to pay to get a amazing product, so that's unfortunate that you have to do that. And then the snap map is one of those things that it's basically going to live or die by the community. If the community is strong, we have lots of people making amazing maps, it's going to live on for years to come and going to be something really exciting. But overall score, if I had to rate this, in all honesty, this would be a perfect game if it wasn't for those little nuances in the multiplayer, and I'd probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. And like I said, the multiplayer, even though it's very strong in my eyes, I strongly disagree with what a lot of other people are saying. It's just I wish they would fix the matchmaking. There's definitely some issues with that, and the map rotation is just kind of a joke at this point. They 9 maps and you play like 4 or 5 maps pretty consistently, and the other ones are just like a crapshoot, and that's very unfortunate. But one of the best games I've played in a very long time. Like I said, the single player is absolutely phenomenal, and it is a not miss campaign of 2016. Once again, this has been Jason with Violator Comics Collectibles. Any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and I'll see you guys next time.